Joining me now, we have Timothy Hafey, former federal prosecutor and former lead investigator to the House January 6th committee and author of the great new book, Harbingers, What January 6th and Charlottesville Reveal About Rising Threats to American Democracy. Again, congrats on getting that one out there, Tim. But why can't Pam Bondi bring herself to say who won? Is she walking a very fine line, or is she clearly loyal to Donald Trump's version of what happened in 2020?
Yeah, Alex, look, it just seems like a loyalty and litmus test for an audience of one. It doesn't really matter if Democratic members of the Senate, like Senator Hirono, find that answer incredible. She has a primary audience, the person who appointed her to that position. And that has been consistent over the last 4 years, despite, again, as we have discussed ad nauseum, the lack of any evidence that would suggest anything but a legitimate victory for President Biden.
You know, Democrats also asked about her own threats to prosecute those who investigated and prosecuted cases against Trump. Let's watch that.
The president has said Jack Smith should go to jail. Will you investigate Jack Smith?
Senator, I haven't seen the file. I haven't seen the investigation.
The president also wants to jail Liz Cheney. Sitting here today, are you aware of any factual basis to investigate Liz Cheney? Yes or no?
Senator, that's a hypothetical, and I'm not going to answer.
No.
You have said that Department of Justice prosecutors will be prosecuted.
I said that on TV. I said prosecutors will be prosecuted to finish the quote, if bad.
So, Tim, can prosecutors and Jan 6th committee members find any comfort in her answers there?
No, Alex, candidly. Look, I appreciate the fact that the Attorney General nominee says it depends on the facts. That of course, ought to be fundamental, that it all depends on the facts. But the fact that she mentions a file, and I haven't seen the investigation, suggests that she's amenable to some sort of investigation, which ought to take facts, which aren't here. Right. The troubling thing is that it seems to be an appetite to investigate the investigators. Typically, there needs to be some sort of foundation of fact, suspicion of wrongdoing to even open an investigation. Here, I don't believe that exists. Nonetheless, it sounds like there will be a file and there will be an investigation. Ultimately, Alex, it takes facts for real exposure. There are no such facts here, so I don't think Jack Smith or Liz Cheney or anyone else have any ultimate reason to be concerned, but that doesn't mean that there won't be investigations with which they'll have to comply and cooperate.
So here's what she said about Trump's plans to pardon January 6 rioters after some initial deflection. Here's that.
Do you believe that those who've been convicted of the January 6 riot, violent assaults on our police officers, should be pardoned? That's a simple question.
So, Senator, I have not seen any of those files, of course. If confirmed and if asked to advise the president, I will look at each and every file. But let me be very clear in speaking to you. I condemn any violence on a law enforcement officer.
So are you convinced that she can function independently as Attorney General?
It remains to be seen. I have no idea, Alex. I certainly hope so. The tradition of the Attorney General, regardless of whether he or she has been a Republican or a Democrat, has been that very important law enforcement role has had some independence from the White House and has made decisions based on the facts and the law. I'm encouraged that the Attorney General nominee said she condemns violence against law enforcement. I've heard the Vice President-elect similarly say that he would not support pardons of violent insurrectionists at the Capitol. That's encouraging, and I hope it informs the president's thinking that there will be some line drawn if he issues some pardons regarding Jan 6 offenses.
Let me get a quick reaction to what was released, Jack Smith's Volume 1 on his cases with regards to, of course, the insurrection and that. Give me your sense. I mean, he had to claim that it was laughable to suggest that he had anything of a political investment in any of this.
Yeah. He defends the integrity of the investigation, which I expected, but he also just lays out again the substance that was evident from the indictment that was issued in the case in Washington, the election interference case. And that's a story, Alex, that we, the select committee, told some months ago. It's the same story. There are a few new details. There are some things that he got from handwritten notes from Mike Pence reflecting discussions Pence had with Trump. It looks like there's some signal communications he got between Scott Perry, Congressman Perry, and Jeffrey Clark, who was proposed to be acting attorney general. That's some stuff beyond the evidence that we had, but it's essentially the same core story, an intentional multi-part plan intentionally designed to disrupt the joint session and prevent the transfer of power. That's what's laid out in the report, very similar to what was in the Select Committee's report.
Okay. Tim Heaphy, always good to see you, my friend. Thank you much.
Thanks, Al.